Bruno Reagan.
Everybody stay calm. Stay calm.
Let's take some calls from the public, shall we?
Join the afternoon stretch now on the Cure Hotline. 615-844-5600. Now here's Bruno and Zach.
The afternoon stretch, 4 o'clock here in the Music City. Got a great show today. Great weather outside. Great people inside the Strike and Spare Family Fun Center studio. If you want to get involved, we want you to jump in. 615-844-5600. That is the Cure Hotline, wide open for you. Bruno Reagan, Devlin McKenzie, Zach Williams. Once again, coming to you live from the Strike and Spare Family Fun Center studio. Bruno Reagan. Welcome to, what's today? Today's Tuesday? Tuesday, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it is. Big Tuesday. Real quick, the show, I'm sure you were going to hit it, but the show today will be ending at 5:25 for Braves, and then we'll be off tomorrow, and then we'll be back in studio Thursday to finish out the week.
Yes. Well, and then Friday.
Okay.
There's a Friday after that as well, after the Thursday.
Who invented days and was like, I have the authority to
Who's
these?
Gregorian?
What does that mean?
Aren't we on like a Gregorian schedule? That's like the Gregorian calendar.
Is that what it is?
I'm pretty sure that's what it is. So whoever that guy is, if you can find Gregorian, and why 7? Why is that? The Lord took 6 days to create and then rested on the 7th. So maybe that's where it comes from. I don't know. I have no idea. But we have a very short show today. Pope
Gregory in 1582.
There you go. Hey.
He just said this is how it works.
Yeah, he was like, hey, guys, I got it. He was like, you're going to build your entire workday off of this. Your entire work week is going to be – they had no idea we were going to be clocking in 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock in the afternoon, by the way. That's when we go to work. Mm-hmm. Is right after the McFarland show. Big Vandy show today. Big Vandy show. Because not only – we had big Vandy show for the station, not just the afternoons. A lot of Vandy. You had the McFarland show. They had Kevin Ingram talking Vandy. Then we're gonna have Aria Gerson at 4:25, and then to cap it off, the cherry on top starts our weekly hits with Clark Lee, which will be at 5:05 today, where we'll have head coach of the Vanderbilt Commodores football squad over there on West End. 5:05.
5:05. It'll be. Our Vandy days will be Wednesdays, but since we're off Wednesday, today it's Tuesday.
Yeah,
this week it's Tuesday. So
we've not worked a lot of Wednesdays lately either.
Yeah.
That's got to be something. But I think out of the past 4 Wednesdays, we've worked one of them.
It's pretty nice.
I
can't lie. It's nice.
And it's the Atlanta Braves.
Yeah.
It's all the Atlanta Braves. The Braves kicking us off today at 5:25, like you said. And then also tomorrow, we're not going to have any show because of them. It's just Atlanta Braves. And the weather couldn't be better during all this. If you're going to have a short day, off day, make it this kind of weather right here. Devlin McKenzie, how are you doing on the other side of the board?
I'm doing fantastic. I have yet to live down that Kansas win. I'm feeling pretty good about it still.
Yeah, it's you're feeling hot right now.
Oh yeah,
hey,
doing great.
I have to address it early. 1-1 on Deathlocks now. Deathlock didn't hit, and it was so close. It was so close. He got targeted, I think, twice, and he was wide open on one of them. It's
Let's talk about Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. What are they doing in L.A.?
I think the Rams seem
Are they trying to lose? It feels like they're trying to lose.
It feels like a team that came into the season and they kind of forgot how collective the level is of the National Football League. You know what I'm saying? I think they were like, we're the returning Super Bowl champs, and it's just magically going to happen again. And it does. They're just not playing nearly as well as the team did last year. It's
nowhere near it.
They're arguing with each other on the sideline. I mean, Bobby Wagner is like the one good player on defense. I don't think you can even classify Jalen as playing well right now, Jalen Ramsey.
Nope.
So
he got exposed big time by Debo last night.
Jalen's never been a good tackler.
Well, it's just
to popular belief.
It's just wild the fact that they're spending $46 million is what I believe it was.
Oh, no.
For Allen Robinson to be targeted, one time yesterday?
This is what I tell Titans fans. A lot of people, and I think you're in this camp. You're like, I'd sacrifice everything for a Super Bowl. The Rams did that. They have no picks. They have no capital. They have the most dead money. They have the most dead. I mean, that is a house of cards going to come crashing down the second McVay and Stafford leave.
Now, I mean, they're there now, and they're doing nothing.
They're still 2-2.
Stafford feels like he just is. He's like no one else on this team exists besides Cooper Kupp.
No, I don't agree with that. I think Allen Robinson just isn't that good. He had his chances in the end zone, and it's like you can go back and be like, we need to target Robinson more. They did, and he didn't get it done. So, do you want us to do it next week, and then next week, and then on his 7th attempt, 2 tries in each red zone, we're wasting downs on this guy. He got it, woohoo! And it's the team's not responsible for getting you touches. They targeted him, and he can't play. He's not very good. Robert Woods is good. And they traded him.
Yeah. Well, I think there's something to be said right now with what's going on with Robinson, because it's wild. It's wild. He does not get any separation, which as a wide receiver kind of feels like you need a little bit of separation at some point. And so many people had so much hope coming in this year that the Odell Beckham of last year was showing up in Allen Robinson. And now it feels like the Rams need to beg Odell to hurry up and get healthy so he can come back and play for this team again.
Yeah, like Cooper Kupp, Tyler Higbee were obviously the 2 most targets.
14 targets for a tight end.
They combined, Cooper Kupp and Higbee combined for 33 targets. The rest of the team combined 16.
But Allen Robinson was third.
Good stat, Devlin.
Allen Robinson had 6 targets. You know how many he catches too? You know, it's like that can't happen.
No.
They're contested catches in the red zone, and he can't come down with the ball. All right, go to Cooper Kupp or Tyler.
Throw to Cam Akers.
That too.
Just give him something. Give him some sort of. What did he get targeted twice? 0 for 2.
What's this guy's
One
name?
time.
What's his name?
Skronbrack or whatever. I don't know. You know what his name is? Who cares? Why are you throwing him the ball?
They said it on the broadcast. I was like, that's how you pronounce it. And I still don't remember how. Is he like the owner's son just out there running routes?
Okay, full transparency for all the show, because we're open. We let everyone know what's going on. I just recently started putting real, I've let me say this. I've been betting this whole time. Ever since it got legal here in Tennessee, I've been betting on FanDuel. That's really even before they were a sponsor of the show. But I've always been too scared to throw $1, anything more than $1. I've just recently started doing this because I've been hitting and I've been great. And last night I lost all of it. This is my first time to ever really tilt from betting. This is wild. Yeah. I mean, didn't throw to Cam Akers. I thought for sure that was. I mean, I made it a death lock.
I lost $150 last night.
I don't know what to do. What do you do with Cam Akers? What they might as well not have him. They might as well have nobody on the field. They might as well block everybody else but Cooper Kupp and just have Matt Stafford throw to Cooper Kupp if you're the Rams.
Yeah, I don't know. They're
bad. They're a bad team. I think they're a bad team.
Well, that leaves the Niners. Are the Niners a good team?
It leaves the Seahawks. I feel like the Seahawks could beat the Rams.
I think last season that was considered one of the best divisions in football.
Yeah, it was.
Now it's the worst.
Now look at the AFC West.
Unanimous worst.
We looked at the AFC West coming into this season. We were like, this is it. This team has got it. Or this division has got it. I even said Super Bowl's coming out of it. That's what I still believe, because I think the Chiefs are going to win it.
The Chiefs are there, yeah.
But they're dog water. All of them. They're terrible.
The AFC South might have a redemption arc coming up. Colts playing better. Titans playing better. Jacksonville on top.
Yep.
Houston's there, but
Houston, I mean, somebody's got to be the bad team in the division. Yeah. But watching Monday Night Football, that was also another boring primetime game last night. Absolutely boring. And even more so annoying that they didn't have any kind of ESPN Plus broadcast of that game.
I know, I didn't.
Well,
it was on my phone, but I couldn't get it on my TV on the Hulu Plus ESPN.
I couldn't find it on the app or anything.
I was able to get it on my phone by going to the box score, and then it had a watch button, and I clicked it, so I was able to find it.
Well, I couldn't get it. I couldn't get it because I don't have I'm much of the generation now that cut the cords years ago. I don't have cable. I don't have dish. I don't have anything. I stream everything, but they are making it impossible to watch. I can't wait for Apple TV, Amazon, all of it to own all of this, because that way I can watch these games easily.
Some companies.
These cable things are stupid. What are we doing? They had the Manning Cast, which started off on ESPN Plus, and they're having it on ESPN 2. And then did you see Jalen Hurts on it last night? Said the N-word?
No way.
You didn't see it?
I did not see that.
He got booted immediately.
Oh, they kicked him off?
Well, I mean, it was like you saw the reaction, and then they went to break, and he was gone.
Yeah.
They're like, all right. I mean, what are they doing over there? They put it on ESPN too.
Jalen Hurts. You know better, dude.
No, he
Ain't
doesn't.
way.
Because you know what? He's talking ball, hanging out, and that's just it was just crazy. It's I heard.
I can't believe I didn't see this.
Some people are contesting that he didn't say it. Some people are contesting. It's a little back and forth right now on Twitter and TikTok and all that. But yeah, no, I mean, I listened to it. It sounded like he did. It wasn't anything, you know. He was just talking. That's what it kind of sounded like. But let everybody else have their decision on that. But primetime games have just sucked. And if you're going to make them only on cable, that sucks even harder. I bet you this was one of their worst viewing audiences this week because they didn't have any of the internet.
Any of the internet? What does that mean? Like,
They only had it was ESPN2 and it was ESPN. That was the only broadcast. They didn't have any internet broadcast.
Yeah.
You take off majority of your listening group right there. It's just wild to me. It's wild.
I mean, whatever. The game was, like you said, the game.
And the game sucked too. On top of that,
it wasn't the best.
No,
but it was. I mean, it was all right. We're just at that point now where we're like footballed out. Like,
I'm
there's
not
so
footballed out, but
I
like
am.
the game was bad. What was the final score last night? 22-9,
24-9.
24-9. I mean, that's a boring football
How do
game.
you score 9 points? I think they passed the ball 58 times. Let me check. 48. Excuse me.
So yeah,
Passed the ball 48 times. They can't score more than 9 points.
254 yards and 1 interception. That was Stafford's line. I mean, Stafford. He came into the season with the injury designation with the shoulder and elbow. They said, no, he's healthy, he's healed, he's good. I mean, this does not look good at all. Cooper is literally 14 receptions, 122 yards, their entire offense right now.
Yeah.
I've never seen a team quickly fallen from grace more than the Rams so early.
Yeah. I mean, Cam Akers washed. Allen Robinson, bad player. Darrell Henderson, not good enough to carry that backfield tandem. Tyler Higbee's good, but it just shows how little tight end really matters. Like,
Yeah.
it's not
I
gonna
mean,
be a game changer.
10 what do you get? What do you get? 10 receptions for
73
70 yards?
Yeah.
That's great.
17 points. in
You know
fantasy.
what that is? Oh
What?
yeah. Well, I mean, if you're in full PPR, that works out great. But you know what that is?
That
That's
was 17 in our league.
how does not 2 of those go to Cam Akers? Because what it is, it's just checkdowns. It's just I'm being rushed. Get rid of it quick.
They're throwing. They're not throwing running back screens. They're throwing tight end screens. It's
Yes.
hilarious.
I
Yeah.
mean,
They're like,
we're
"Give
going to
the
take
ball."
our most unathletic player on the field, and we're going to give him the ball in athletic situations.
Yeah.
I mean, Sean McVay offensive genius, apparently.
Yeah,
This is
I need
terrible.
to start playing. I need to start selling Mark Andrews. I have Mark Andrews and Tyler. I have the best 2 tight ends in football. On my roster.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you have TJ Hawkinson? Because I didn't realize you had him.
Oh, Mr. One Good Week in 2.5 years.
Best combine all the other tight end stats for the whole year,
Uh,
and he almost beat that one game. Finally,
Isn't that hilarious? You're like the best performance of a tight end in the past 3 to 4 years, and you still lost the game.
I know. Well, that league, another league, I destroyed. But yes, I lost by 1 point, 1 point, and scored the second most in the whole listener league. Is we're in shambles right now.
You.
No,
We're in
I'm saying we, as all of us, because I'm doing bad,
Oh.
we're in shambles.
Okay.
The royal we, the
What
royal
are
we.
you going to do if I repeat back to back?
It's over. I told you already.
Oh, okay.
It's over.
The league's over.
Yeah, it's done. No more league. Fun run. That's what you had.
Yeah.
But now, no, league's done.
Oh, man.
We're done with the league after that. The show might be over.
That'd be cool too.
We might be looking for a new 4 to 6 slot. That's what our 4 to 525 today. Yeah, that might be where we're at right now. But yeah,
See,
Monday Night Football is just wildly bad.
and before we get into like serious talk, I wanted to throw this to you. Did you see that Tom Brady and Giselle are getting divorced? Already?
Yes.
Tom Brady's going to be in the NFL for 10 more years. Unironically, he's going to die playing football.
Could they actually be getting divorced just because he came back to play football?
100%. I think
Yeah.
that's it. I don't think this is a crazy story.
I don't revel in anybody's downfall like that. I hate it for them both. I mean, even though they're obviously wildly rich and wildly successful,
People
what they
think
do.
that solves your problems.
Nope.
It doesn't. Trust me.
Guess what? You know what they're doing? They're having just as hard a time as every other couple that gets divorced or breaks up or whatever. It's probably tough. And it's probably even more tough with them. You know how much more stuff they have than everybody else to separate and figure out? I mean, that's going to be no fun. Is this good or bad for Tom Brady football this season, though?
Horrible. Are you kidding me? This is the biggest distraction he'll ever face. He probably the type of dude Tom seems like he probably regrets getting married from the jump. He's just like, I should have just never.
If you're a Bucs fan, you need to hope that right now, like they get it done within like a few weeks.
Not happening.
It's not going to happen. But you need to hope that, because then what he needs that, it's they say when you break up with the girl or break up with a guy, either way, they're like, oh man, I lost all this weight, got so much more fit, I'm so much more successful, because you start focusing on everything else, you prioritize everything else over what was your relationship. So this could be Tom Brady may have an MVP second half of the season coming up.
I did see people, they were posting the Bucs prop. I think it was plus 1,000 to win the Super Bowl. Everyone was like, hammer it now. I don't think this is the year to do that. I think this is
you be giving him it on it. Just that music is getting like pumped up.
I wonder what's his contract situation with the Bucs like. Do the Titans go after an old Tom Brady? They said he was old last time.
Yeah, I know. I think any team would be lucky to still have Tom Brady 2 years from now. That's the real side of it. Best quarterback ever. That's just the real side.
He's not slowing down. It looks like he could unironically play 4 to 6 more years.
He had his best game of the season last week against the Chiefs. I mean, they just lost because the Buccaneers defense couldn't do anything with it. But they're not out of this at all. We got to run to a break. When we come back, we'll have the Tennesseans' Aria Gerson jumping on talking Vandy, and then later on in the show, 5:05. We'll have head coach of the Vandy Commodores himself, Clark Lee, will join the show as well. In the meantime, if you want to jump in, the Cure hotline wide open, 615-844-5600. This is the afternoon stretch.
Good afternoon. On the scene of an accident with injuries, Harding Place at Nolensville Pike, also Murfreesboro Road at Hamilton Church Pike. That's going to be in Antioch right there in front of the Walmart. 5,000 block of O'Malley Drive is an accident with injuries in slow go. We are seeing very heavy traffic out there on Interstate 24. Once you make your way past 440 and Briley Parkway, headed back towards Rutherford County. For customized Tennessee t-shirts, hoodies, and so much more, if you're a Vol fan, check out RockyTopTNShirts.com. That's RockyTopTNShirts.com. I'm Charlie Saunier, and that's On Time Traffic.
Nashville's first curling venue is here at T-Line Nashville. Come check out T-Line Nashville and experience the world's fastest growing winter sport today. Curling is a fun and simple sport that's a perfect outing for friends, corporate events, families, or parties. T-Line also has classic bowling and modern bowling mini games. With over 20 HD TVs, you can come watch your favorite teams and some of the best food and drinks here in Nashville in the large bar and grill area. They also have an outdoor area with a fire pit, and you can't forget the live music. T-Line Nashville is a one-stop shop for a great night out. Located at 106 Duluth Avenue and online at tlinenash.com. You can book your party now or give them a call at 615-439-1024. That's 615-439-1024. And make sure you give them a follow on Instagram and Facebook at T-Line Nash for all the news, events, and updates. T-Line Nashville. Nashville's first curling venue is here.
Slim's Tender Mac Bowls are back. We start with a 3-cheese blend to make our delicious mac and top it with chopped hand-breaded tenders and Colby Jack cheese. Try the Tender Mac Bowl meal or the Buffalo Tender Mac Bowl meal, both served with Texas toast and a medium drink. But hurry, they're only around for a limited time. Download the Slim Chickens app to order and earn rewards.
Greg Pogue back once again to tell you about Bongo Java, Nashville's oldest and most celebrated coffee company, now also located in the Omni Nashville Hotel. Reward yourself for surviving Nashville traffic with fresh, locally roasted coffee, classic handcrafted espresso drinks, and fresh baked goods all day long. And free Wi-Fi, so you don't have to work from home. Number 1 in customer service. You made it through the traffic. Reward yourself with a perfect pick-me-up at Bongo Java. Fresh coffee, delicious treats, great atmosphere. Open 6 a.m. until 2 p.m. daily. Bongo Java at the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Your exclusive Nashville Sports Radio WNSR Skyscan forecast. Well, this afternoon we'll have plenty of sunshine at a high of 78. Tonight looks to be clear with a low of 45. More sunshine is on the way for Wednesday with a high of 80. Wednesday night continues to be clear with a low of 49. We'll have sunshine, warmer temperatures Thursday, our high 84. Utilizing the resources of the Weatherbug Network on Nashville Sports Radio, I'm WNSR's Rod Tanner.
Sports Radio WNSR.
The show that makes the average person say, hey, I can do that. The Afternoon Stretch.
The afternoon stretch. Bruno Reagan, Devlin McKenzie, Zach Williams here inside the Strike and Spare Family Fun Center studio. Time to go to the Cure Hotline, 615-844-5600. Weekly hit with the Tennessean's own Aria Gerson. Of course, Vandy beat writer for the Tennessean. You can follow her on Twitter at Aria_Gerson. Aria, thank you so much for jumping on with us because typically we're on Wednesdays, and we had to do it Tuesday because we just don't work on Wednesdays anymore ever since we started doing our weekly hits with you.
Well, thank you for having me.
So Vandy coming off the bye week, obviously not too much to learn from it. What has been some of the news, if any, that has come out so far over there on West End?
Well, I think Vanderbilt, for the most part, has been getting healthier. There's a lot of players who are injured who will be back this week, including Jalen Mahoney, Braden Bapp, Xavier Castillo. Those guys will be back, although we did find out today that Bradley Mann, the freshman defensive lineman, is out for the season. So he's out, but pretty much everybody else, save for Davion Davis, who has been out with injuries, is expected to be back this week.
So some injuries, obviously, that are coming out of this, and bye week. Have you heard anything from Clark Lee on the side of more strategy talk, or has it been kind of quiet on that side?
Well, I mean, I think we've asked a lot about Mike Wright's role. That's been a hot topic, and he's continually said he's trying to find a way to use Mike Wright, but it's going to be more of a situational thing as opposed to giving Mike Wright entire drives or rotating him in with A.J. Swan. Says he's not going to do that. Now, he also said that Mike Wright was going to start against Northern Illinois, but I also think that Clark Lee is probably telling the truth here with that usage. He won't obviously reveal specific plays or when he might use them. I think it was kind of pointless to use them against Alabama, but maybe if they're in, a little bit of a closer game, we might see those. And obviously, he knows Ole Miss is kind of up-tempo. They've got a really good offense. And so he knows that, they've got to rotate in a lot of players and try to keep up with that.
Talking with Aria Gerson, Vandy beat writer for the Tennessean. Follow her on Twitter at Aria_Gerson. Bruno Reagan, say hello to your dear old friend, Aria Gerson.
Hello, Aria. Listen, Aria, it's no secret. They're going, I'm pretty sure it's back-to-back-to-back top 10 teams, right? So they had Bama, bye week, then it's going to be Ole Miss, then it's going to be Georgia. Has anyone asked Clark Lee, how he's going to kind of react to that stretch, if there's expectations to it? Because let's be honest, we don't expect him to win. But I wonder if he spoke on, that straight of games.
He hasn't spoken on that specifically, but I think he has said, he's hoping for some improvement and experience from the younger players just when it comes to, getting more experience in SEC games. I think he does expect to compete. He pointed out that last year's defense against Ole Miss, even though it was probably their best defensive game that they played all season, wasn't good enough. They want to do better than that. They still have a goal of making it to a bowl game, which they don't have to beat any of these teams to make it to a bowl game. But, that is, they are setting, the bar fairly high when it comes to what kind of performance they're expecting.
Yeah, for sure. A bowl game's going to be tough, and I'm sure the coaches and the players kind of know who in the back of the head they have to beat. I would guess it's a Missouri, South Carolina. If they did go to a bowl game, Aria, it has to be Mizzou, South Carolina. Who would be the third team you think they knock off to earn that bowl game?
Yeah, I think maybe Florida or, maybe even Tennessee. I think Tennessee's really good this year, but that game has been very unpredictable over the past several years. So maybe even that. But I think probably just in terms of how well Vanderbilt matches up with the remaining teams on their schedule, probably Florida would be the most likely one remaining.
Talking with Aria Gerson. You can follow her on Twitter. Once again, Aria_Gerson. This past week of SEC slate games, obviously you cover Vandy, but I know you keep your ear and your eye to the grindstone there with all these games. teams like Georgia, teams like what we've seen out of the East so far, outside of Tennessee, even though Georgia still has that number 2 next to them, it feels like Vandy can have a shot in a game with any team in the East. Fair?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the middle of the SEC has looked very unsettled this year. It feels like we don't really know who the best teams are. I still think it's Alabama and Georgia at the top. But beyond that, we don't really know. I tweeted this past week, you might have seen, I said Missouri, playing with Georgia last week was the one way that Vanderbilt could lose their bye week. And, what I meant by that is just sort of the inclination that Mizzou had not shown much of a pulse prior to that. They had that horrible game against Auburn. They got blown out by Kansas State. And, seeing them play with Georgia was kind of a, reminder that, Vanderbilt doesn't have any easy games remaining. But, I think any of the teams could be beatable in a particular game. Like if Missouri plays the way it did against Kansas State, that's a very different team than the way they played against Georgia. So it depends on, what version of each opponent kind of shows up on any given day. I feel like it makes it very unpredictable.
And obviously now looking towards Saturday, Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss showing up here in Nashville. This is obviously a rival matchup that Vanderbilt has had for such a long time. Have you noticed any extra juice from the team? Has there been any extra kind of feelings coming out of this? And what do you expect of this Ole Miss squad coming in?
I think they're basically treating this like any other opponent. I think that, obviously they're excited to play Ole Miss, particularly at home, coming off the bye. I haven't seen a ton of, rivalry talk about it, but I also think, the fact that this was one of the better SEC games that they played last season, and they ended up matching it better with Ole Miss than I think a lot of people thought. So just that aspect of it, gives the idea that they could potentially make it interesting at the very least.
Talking with Aria Gerson. You can follow her on Twitter once again at Aria_Gerson. This Ole Miss team, I mean, with Clark Lee, it feels like there's two, and we're actually going to have Clark Lee on at 5:05 today. So you're leading off here with the whole Vandy talk today, Aria. But with Clark Lee taking on Lane Kiffin, doesn't that feel like such two different styles of just head coach in general? One guy obviously doesn't show any emotion really on the sideline in Clark Lee, and then Lane Kiffin, who will pretty much go after his own fan base immediately after a game for them leaving at the second half.
They're definitely very different when it comes to coaching styles, for sure. It's kind of like when Tim Corbin and Tony Vitello match up, just completely different. And obviously, the styles that they play on the field are pretty different. But I also think that is kind of how Vanderbilt was able to play with them for most of the game when they played last year as well.
Yeah, it's interesting. I didn't even when you said the Vitello and Corbin, obviously that's another one where it's just that Vandy is, what's the word? Is there a Vandy way, Bruno, or something that? I
guess they're trying to make it. I was thinking more like Scott that was married to the Kardashian and Marcus Aurelius. That was like the two oddballs. But I guess that Tim Corbin, Tony Vitello is a way better comparison.
I mean, yours just feels like it was on the other side of the moon right then.
Yeah,
but.
I know. But she nailed it down to perfect. Yeah, that's an even better question. I think they kind of do. That does seem like the Vandy way, sort of like, I don't know, just
quiet, reserved, and do your job.
It really feels like falling in line sometimes, too, to be honest.
Yeah. There has to be some of that, I guess. But with this, I mean, this Clark Lee-led team, I mean, so far it feels like, Aria, your thoughts on this, it feels like they're on the upward trajectory still, no matter what happens with the rest of this SEC play. I think we're all kind of on the board that we think there's going to be an SEC win that comes out of this. But even if they don't get one this year, it's still an uptick from where they've been in years past. Fair?
I do think that they look much improved this year, and I think that some of the indicators as far as it comes to the coaching have been pretty positive. For instance, one thing that I look at is penalties. Like, teams that commit a lot of penalties tend to be poorly coached. And Vanderbilt is actually third in the SEC with fewest penalties committed per game, which I think is a good sign because you got to play pretty clean to beat an SEC opponent when you have the kind of talent deficit that they have. They haven't been turning the ball over a lot. They've been forcing a decent number of turnovers. You know, they've been kind of they've been kind of doing what they can with what they've got, I guess is how I would put it. So it's definitely better than last year, and I think, you know, last year they had trouble beating UConn. Now, you know, UConn, obviously, this year, they just won a game on Saturday against an FBS team. But, you know, I think if Vanderbilt played UConn this year, that game would go a lot differently.
Now, Aria, I guess last question I personally have for you. I think at Vanderbilt, a lot of times you can get caught up in when you're on these downward, like where Derek Mason left the team, you know, it was basically rock bottom, and now we're starting to see some improvement. We're optimistic, but I'm just wondering where, you know, what kind of leeway does Clark Lee get? You know, if we come out next season, like say we win 4 games this year and then we win 4 games next year, should we still be, you know, optimistic, or what's the outlook? Does there have to be constant improvement year by year until Atlanta, or what, you know, when do we start being less optimistic?
I think there needs to be improvement, but I'm not sure if the metrics that, you know, would be being used to evaluate him are necessarily always wins and losses. Now, I do, you know, having looked at the schedule for next year, obviously you never know what's going to happen with the transfer portal and all that kind of stuff, but it looks a lot easier than this year's schedule. So I do think it's fair to expect more wins next year. That being said, when you play in the SEC, sometimes the scheduling is just going to be such that you're not always going to win more games depending on who the crossover opponents are and who you're playing on the road. And, you know, we don't even know what the SEC scheduling is going to look like with, you know, they might go to 9 conference games. You know, Texas and Oklahoma are joining and all of that. So we don't really know. But I think when it comes to looking at improvement, there's other numbers besides wins and losses. Like, again, are the teams playing discipline? Are they avoiding turnovers, avoiding penalties? Are the special teams, you know, going pretty well? Those are kind of metrics of, like, if the team is well coached. Are the players getting better when they come there? That's a big one that I look at. Is the program starting to produce NFL draft picks? Things like that. That's the kind of thing that I think is going to be more of an indicator than the actual record. And if those things start to stagnate, that's when I would have concern.
Talking with Aria Gerson. Once again, go follow her on Twitter, Vandy beat writer for the Tennessean at Aria_Gerson. I'm looking here. I want to kind of change up a little bit on it. Keep it with Vanderbilt, obviously, but I was looking on the Tennessean, and I saw you're already giving out Vanderbilt basketball. What's going on with Vanderbilt basketball as we're getting close to basketball season just around the corner here?
Yeah, basketball starts in just over a month, and we talked to Jerry Stackhouse last Thursday, and he said that pretty much everybody is healthy in the preseason, other than Graham Carlton, who's a walk-on who has had some back spasms. But outside of him, everyone is healthy, which is definitely different from last year. And it sounds like there's going to be a lot of different options at various positions. There might be more rotation, more depth than there was last year. There's a couple different point guard options. There's a lot of different options at center and power forward. And so, you know, there's not going to be that star player necessarily with Scottie Pippen Jr., but I do think that, you know, the depth might be a little bit better than it was last year.
Since we're in October, and just because I feel like every time I still haven't Bruno's met Aria. I haven't met Aria in person. I think we've been around the same waters, but just never, you know, the handshake hasn't happened, that kind of thing. Are you a Halloween kind of girl? Like, once it's October, it's just like, is it spooky season right away in the Gerson household?
I don't know. It's you know, ever since I've worked in sports, I have to work on Halloween half the time. So I kind of feel like I don't celebrate it a ton, but this year, you know, it's a Monday and I don't always have events going on, so maybe I will actually be able to celebrate this year.
Do you sit back and watch do you have what's your top Halloween movie when you're like kind of wanting to watch something spooky?
Ooh. Well, I don't know. I think there's some, as a kid, my family and I always used to watch like the Charlie Brown Halloween special. So that's not spooky, but that's definitely the nostalgic choice. I feel like if I'm wanting to just like go back to like when I was a kid and when I actually like Halloween was, super, super fun event, I guess.
Yeah, well, it's Bruno's never seen it, but it's I got a chocolate bar, I got a lollipop, I got a rock.
I'm sure I've seen it.
Oh yeah, you've probably seen it just in passing, but there's no shot you watched it. Aria, thank you so much for joining us. Remember, you can catch all our work on the Tennessee and Covers Vandy. You can follow her on Twitter as well at Aria_Gerson. Aria, thank you so much for jumping on.
Yeah, thank you.
Aria Gerson, always good stuff with Aria. Bruno gets nervous when I bring up anything spooky season because it scares. Bruno's actually, being a big, strong guy that Bruno is, judo, all the things we talked about, he actually does get scared at spooky season. He's not a fan of this
I
time.
used to tell people all the time, if you jump scare me, like if you just hide around a corner and scare me, you're not invited to my birthday. Like, straight up, I'll hate you forever. Don't do it.
He gets you get nightmares at night too. Watching you'll watch a little movie and then you'll wake up and be like, oh no! It'll be you're under the covers and you're trying to fight, but you move slow because you're all like tucked in bed.
My nightmares are weird too. I have nightmares where I get traded to like in college. Like I'm like I wake up, I'm like,
we don't want this one anymore.
Yeah, I'd have dreams that Vanderbilt would trade me, and I wake up and I'm like, am I in Tampa? Where am I? I also had, you remember that backpack kid that always floss?
Yeah,
I had a dream he shot me. So
I think you mentioned that on air. Like,
did I?
Maybe, or I don't know. I never know what's our on-air conversations and off-air conversations.
We really did a bad job at like separating them.
Yeah, they're not great. Appreciate Aria jumping on once again. If you want to jump in, 615-844-5600. You have any questions, comments, concerns? A lot of Vandy talk happening today on the show. Got Clark Lee coming up at 5:05, then at 5:25. We are done for the day. The Braves and Marlins taking over there as they just have 2 regular season games left on their schedule. How crazy is that? Baseball's almost done. Basketball's almost
Thank
back
God.
here.
Okay.
And then football's full swing.
Yeah.
College football. I mean, we're soon to have that day that happens every October where you have baseball, basketball, hockey, football, all of it in one day. Just crazy. And Nashville SC starts their playoffs. I'm wearing my Prime Blue right now. SC starts their playoffs Sunday.
It is interesting where like when it starts to get the coldest is when all the sports play.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, because this is like the nicest weather you're going to get year-round across the country. Yeah. All right, we need to jump to a break. If you want to jump in, we want to hear from you. Once again, the Cure Hotline, 615-844-5600.
Good afternoon. We've just picked up a crash 440 eastbound at mile mark number 3. That has traffic very slow go. Another crash 2500 block of Murfreesboro Pike. Still on the scene of a crash, Harding Place at Nolensville Pike. And we are seeing very heavy volume out there on all of your major interstates, but especially 40 past the airport. And then again on 24 as you're headed back towards Rutherford County. Attention dentists. Dental Staff School can provide you with qualified dental assistance today. Call or Google Dental Staff School for trained dental assistants. I'm Charlie Sonny, and that's On Time Traffic.
Hey Nashville, Ray here. Many of us suffer with anxiety when going to the dentist. You guys need to go check out my amazing friends over at Bite Dentistry. Bite Dentistry is where my family goes for all our dental care. Their mission is to help patients breathe better, smile bigger, and live longer by offering a comprehensive selection of services and total dental care for every member of your family. Bite Dentistry is the only dentist in town trained and certified to offer the Vivos method that helps with people who grind their teeth at night or snore that causes sleep apnea. What's great about the Vivos methods is that it's provided for both kids and adults. They also work with a company called Guard Lab, which creates custom mouth guards, which are the same mouth guards used by professional football players. Located at 3212 West End Avenue, Suite 301, Nashville, you can set an appointment by calling them at 615-866-2129. That's 615-866-2129, and follow them on social media and online at bitedds.com. Again, that's bitedds.com.
Did you know there's a place where you can get good neighbor service and surprisingly great rates on home and auto insurance? Yep, and that place is, ta-da, State Farm. Here's the deal. State Farm agent Austin Hardy is your go-to agent in the Middle Tennessee community for the service you desire at the price you want. So stop shopping around. State Farm agent Austin Hardy has you covered. Call 615-810-9999 for your surprisingly great rates today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to State Farm underwriting requirements.
Get all your NASCAR news every weekday right here on The Final Lap. Hey, it's Kerry Murphy, and Chase Elliott has locked himself into the next round of the playoffs by grabbing the win at Talladega Superspeedway this weekend. Up next is a track he does pretty well at, the Charlotte Roval Road Course. So grab all the latest NASCAR news, race recaps, driver reviews, stats, and info every single weekday, same place that Chase does.
Hi, this is Chase Elliott, and you're listening to The Final Lap with Kerry Murphy.
Every single weekday.
Today, my new dad and I shot off a rocket in the park.
Today, my new son and I failed to shoot off a rocket.
The rocket launched into the air.
And then crashed into the pond.
I'll never forget that day.
I'll never forget that day, even if I tried.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are. For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
The show that makes you thankful for Braves games. The Afternoon Stretch with Zach and Bruno. And Ray.
Bruno Reagan, Devlin McKenzie, Zach Williams here. Strike and Spare Family Fun Center Studios. 615-844-5600, the Cure Hotline if you want to jump in. We have, once again, Big Vandy Show. We're already one half of the Vandy Show done. We got a second half, which is the Piece de Resistance. 5:05, Clark Lee, head coach of the Vandy football team, will be on the show with us.
He'll end us.
Yeah.
I mean, that was, hold on, just leave it at that.
He might kill us.
just don't say anything. He'll end us. And then just leave the audience like, what does
that mean? Find out next time. Yeah. No, we're done at 5:25. Braves baseball taking over at that point. Your NL East leading Brave Bravos in that one. I put out a tweet earlier today. I want to mention it. I just want to mention it a little bit here. Hashtag Titans Talk for anybody that's offended by that, because we'll have plenty more Vandy talk to go here. We're short show today too, and no show tomorrow, so we have to get some of these thoughts out now, because if something breaks and happens tomorrow, we have no idea. But I just wanted to put this out there. I put it on Twitter. People agreed with me, and I agree with me as well because I said it. The Tennessee Titans right now, Traylon Burks situation, turf toe injury, it's a bugaboo. What can you do? It's going to be a thorn in the side right now. Titans clearly shown, though, Derrick Henry is I'm not even going to use the word back. He's playing to his potential. That's what it is. He's just playing to his potential, because he was, before the injury, he was doing this last year. He was doing it the year before, and he was doing it the year before. So Derrick Henry's been good. But what they've shown is they clearly can't throw the ball. A lot of the murmurs right now is that Josh Gordon, who of course got signed to the practice squad, is about to take a step up in that Titans wide receiver core, simply because he has to. I don't like the idea of relying on an elderly wide receiver, NFL standards.
Yeah, if you're 30 years old and you're just like, it's a
NFL
young
standards.
man's game.
Yeah, you know.
Old Vontae. You've seen that Vontae Davis clip.
Yeah.
Right? He retires off. That's a young man game.
Yeah, I just don't like coming off the practice squad. He was okay with the Kansas City Chiefs, one of the best passing offenses last year, but still wasn't any breakout receiver or anything like that under a great passing offense. I don't think he's going to do too much for the Titans. Robert Woods is going to take a step up. I'm talking about Josh Gordon.
Okay. Thank you.
Titans need to make a trade. John Robinson's number one job right now, which you know what John Robinson loves doing? Pulling them out and put them on the table. That's what he likes to do. He will show them any chance he gets, because he has done so many of these risky trades, risky moves, risky drafts. He loves it. And the one he needs to go after right now, it is wide open. It needs to happen. DJ Moore, Carolina Panthers. DJ Moore should be his first priority on this team.
It all depends on the money. So I'm going to look up this contract situation, because if you can get him on a decent...
He just signed a new contract, I believe, last year. It's going to be... But look, this is a guy who's prime. This is prime
41
time.
million, yeah.
41 million, prime
60
time.
million, excuse me.
Yeah, he's got some money. Primetime player right now.
If he's so prime time, shouldn't he be able to overcome the adversity and still play to a high level?
Great question. No.
But who's the real greats? They always do it. I would look at Calvin Johnson.
Where would you throw Odell Beckham Jr. in that conversation?
I don't think he's an all-time great. I don't think he's like an NFL Hall of Famer.
I agree. Would you say right now in the NFL, pre the injury? Obviously, injury is going to come back. But where would you put him pre the injury? He was pretty good for the Rams once he left who?
The Browns.
And who was that quarterback?
Who was that quarterback? Baker Mayfield.
Baha! Baker Mayfield. He left Baker Mayfield.
Argument. No, that's a great argument. Look what Odell when he left Baker, we could do the same thing with DJ Moore.
I think Baker is just a quarterback that sucks in the NFL, which is a tough word to say, but he's good to be enough to be a starter in the NFL, but that doesn't mean that much when Jacoby Brissett is starting right now and he looks terrible too. But he's good enough to be a starter, but he's not good enough to utilize talent that is on the field. Ryan Tannehill can utilize talent that's on the field. And I think Treylon Burks was blowing up. I think he was set to just take off.
I don't think DJ Moore wants to come to the Titans. Look, our second half is abysmal. We have DJ Moore that doesn't fix the second half things at all, I don't think.
I think
that's a very big internal issue.
You know what it does? It gives you new juice. It gives you a new something, like what the Titans had when they got Ryan Tannehill to start over the Marcus Mariota. When that happened, they gave him that new juice. I think
they do need something. It does.
The wide receivers
feels like there's a lot. It feels like there's too much inertia with the Titans. I will say that.
Chingo Okonkwo is a rookie tight end, and he should not be leading the Titans in receptions and yards in any game. He should not be your main target.
He's your tight end like 2.5.
Yes.
He should be splitting with Jeff Swain.
No, but he's splitting with Austin Hooper.
He's leading.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. It is really kind of crazy. So that's where this turf toe stuff. Turf toe is a lingering problem.
Yeah, it'll be here. It's going to affect him all season.
And you're going to have that issue. You have the ability to win now. John Robinson right now, DJ Moore should be on a whiteboard circled in his office saying, how do we get this from the Carolina Panthers?
But just DJ Moore, there's not better options out there. DJ Moore's who the
Give
Titans
me another wide receiver that's unhappy where he's at. That is a game changer. You know what I'm saying? And DJ Moore has that ability. Yeah, but that trade's never going to happen. If they didn't trade him last year when they had the ability to, they're not going to trade him. Trust me, who wouldn't love to have Brandon Cooks? He's an amazing wide receiver. Devlin, do you have one?
I got nothing.
Stay away from Allen Robinson.
Yeah. Well, he comes from the Bears. Anything that the Bears touch just crashes down. So, yeah, there's really not too many wide receiver options. But who would the Titans? What would the Titans give up for DJ Moore?
What would you give up? Would a third round and a fourth round pick in next year's draft?
They're not giving up DJ Moore for a third and fourth.
You think Kenny Galladay's worth it? He hates where he's at. You think
his contract's really big?
No,
I think his contract's bigger than DJ Moore.
When has that ever worked out for the Titans where they pick up someone who like a Kenny Galladay and bring? It's just going to be the same old. I don't think so. Kenny Galladay can't catch wide open passes. That's an issue.
Yeah, I mean that's yeah.
I think he's in his own head.
I think he hates New York, which is a big problem.
I think
because he was great in Detroit. He was great in Detroit.
I think he hates himself. If he hated New York so bad, he would catch those passes and another team would want him. But
I don't know any other. I just feel like DJ Moore. I think there's something there. I want to timestamp this moment here, and I'm there's no sources. There's nothing like that. This is a gut feeling that I have that I think DJ Moore is at the very least being talked about.
Time for my hot guy radio guy.
All right. Hot guy radio.
This is the answer for the Titans right now. Ryan Tannehill. Where'd he come from? The Dolphins. What do the Dolphins need? Quarterback. What do the Dolphins have? Receiving threats. Send Ryan Tannehill to the Dolphins. Start Malik Willis. Send all the picks you need. John Robinson, make it happen. Jalen Waddle's a Titan. See, that's the best I can do.
Why would they play so bad if they didn't want to keep DJ Moore? Yeah. That's our national radio segment brought to you by absolutely
nobody.
So you
think DJ Moore is like the best bad player out there? He's like playing bad and it's
bad teams, good player. Yes, I think he's the top end of it. That's obtainable. He's obtainable.
Yeah.
I don't know who else would be obtainable. And it's been a while. It's been a while since I feel like John Robbins is just kind of sitting there bored. Like he's like a fantasy manager where he's like, man, I haven't made any trades. I'm bored. Just like making trades just out of sheer boredom. I think he's kind of the same guy. We got to run to a break. If you want to jump in, Cure Hotline 615-844-5600. Remember Clark Lee at 5:05 to start the second hour of the afternoon stretch.
Good afternoon. We have picked up a crash that is slowing traffic down considerably in the core of the downtown area. 65 northbound at mile marker number 86. 1200 block of Gallatin Pike also slowed because of a crash. 440 eastbound causing a problem with your afternoon commute because of a crash at mile marker number 3. You see very heavy traffic out there on Interstate 40 as you're making your way through the Donaldson area back towards Mount Juliet. For customized Tennessee t-shirts, hoodies, and so much more, if you're a Vol fan, check out RockyTopTNShirts.com. That's RockyTopTNShirts.com. Charlie Sonnet on time traffic.
NASCAR Cup Series race recap from Talladega Superspeedway. I'm Kerry Murphy. Pretty tame race, all things considering it was, Talladega. 10-1, Chase Briscoe. Then you got Austin Cindric, Daniel Suarez, Todd Gilliland, number 7. Eric Jones, Denny Hamlin. At number 4 is Ross Chastain, who is now 3rd in the playoff standings. Then you got Michael McDowell, tied his best finish of the season. And Ryan Blaney in 2nd is also 2nd in the playoff standings. To victory lane now, Chase Elliott on the edge of being eliminated. Locks himself into the next round of the playoffs by grabbing the win at Dega.
To have 18 now is really special. So I would love to keep adding to that, obviously, as time goes on, but very grateful for the 18 that we have and proud of our team. It's been the same team for the most part. Been some changes in there, but, Alan and Tom and myself, at the 9 team, and Eddie have been there the whole way. So that's a special thing and proud that, we've been able to grow together and give ourselves that many opportunities to grab checkered flags. So hopefully we can get some more.
Now, the bottom 4 drivers is actually 5 heading into the last race of this round. Austin Cindric and Chase Briscoe are now tied at 0 in or out, depending on how you look at it. William Byron is 11 out, Christopher Bell 33, and Alex Bowman 54 back. Up next in this round is the Charlotte Road Course, going down Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern on NBC. This is the final lap.
My doctor told me my blood pressure is borderline. I figured I could worry about it or do something about it. So I took control with Garlic Healthy Blood Pressure Formula. It works safely and naturally to help maintain healthy blood pressure with a custom blend of garlic, vitamins, and minerals. And it's odor-free. I'm taking charge with Garlic Healthy Blood Pressure Formula.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The term natural references only the garlic in the product. Use as directed.
Progressive presents today's to-do list for your cat.
Take a nap, meow till I get food, walk away from food, move to couch, see human, give cold shoulder. Take a nap, meow till I get
Your
food.
pet has a very busy schedule, so it's up to you to make sure they're protected. That's why Progressive Car Insurance covers your pets for up to $1,000 if they're ever in a car accident with you.
Move to couch, aggressively clean myself. Take a nap, meow till I get food.
Get coverage for your pets with anti-auto policy from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverage for cats and dogs included with the purchase of collision coverage and subject to policy terms.
When was the last time you did something fun with family, friends, coworkers, and clients? What if I told you about a place under one roof that offers affordable entertainment for all ages? That's what you'll find at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers in Donaldson, Hermitage, Tusculum, Hendersonville, and Murfreesboro, with bowling, games, food, drink, and entertainment for all ages. Enjoy an enhanced experience in Hendersonville or Murfreesboro, where they feature additional fun with bumper cars, laser tag, roller skating, and more. All locations are open 7 days a week, including holidays. Visit online at strikeandspare.com. Strike and Spare, where fun is bowling. The Afternoon Stretch. It's a radio show.
The Afternoon Stretch, Bruno Reagan, Devlin McKenzie, Zach Williams here inside the Strike and Spare Family Fun Center studio. If you want to get involved, the Cure Hotline, 615-844-5600. That is the number to jump in. We have a shortened show today as Braves baseball takes us out at 5:25. But we have, of course, Clark Lee joining us 5:05 to talk Vandy football, and who knows what we might throw, just throw a couple other things at them.
Just the boys talking.
Just the boys talking
Zach,
ball.
Bruno, and head coach Clark Lee of Vanderbilt University.
I don't think he gets to be just the boys if we have to use his full title.
Yeah, I know.
Clarky.
Let's not get crazy now.
Lee. Just call him Lee. I wonder how he goes by that. If he goes by any, what his nickname is. Because, everybody, you had a nickname at Vandy.
I did?
Yes.
What was it?
Nacho.
That is true.
I know that because everybody that I keep meeting that played with you only calls you Nacho.
Well, you hang out with the older crowd, and that is what they called me. By my retro sophomore year, all the older guys left, so
it's
fell
true.
off.
But I wonder what his nickname was when he was a player, if he had one.
He is a short, stout, white fullback, so probably Gritty. I don't know.
Yeah.
before it was the dance. That was a good one. Head Coach Clark Lee coming up.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
gonna be awesome.
Right into it, baby. Look for it. First hour is in the books. Second hour is like halfway. It's a half hour, really. It's going to be fun, though.
It's really just all Clark Lee.
It's all Clark Lee, 5 o'clock hour. Yeah. So you're not going to want to miss it here on the afternoon stretch.
ABC News Now, I'm Derek Dennis. A week after Hurricane Ian roared ashore, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is setting up command centers to get power back restored as quickly as possible.
Our view at the state level is you do all this stuff on parallel tracks. You don't wait until one thing's done and then begin to start the next. We know we have to do all these, so let's start them all and move them forward.
President Biden will meet with DeSantis tomorrow in Florida. The president urging voters to take abortion rights action to the ballot box.
Republicans in Congress want to pass a law to take away the right to choose for every woman in every state, in every county.
He says the timing is right with the midterm elections just weeks away. Former President Trump has asked the Supreme Court to block a federal court ruling that restored the DOJ's access to classified documents seized from Mar-a-Lago. A Michigan judge dismissing charges against 7 people in the Flint water scandal. This is ABC News.
Does your child struggle with reading? There is an answer. Introducing the world's first e-training technology co-developed by award-winning experts to give your child unsurpassed reading control, accuracy, fluency, and comprehension. In just 20 minutes per day, your child can be immersed in the most advanced reading developmental techniques. No longer will you have to be disappointed with other reading programs that produce little results. Discover what thousands of other parents have found to give their children the confidence and precise reading efficiency needed in today's competitive world. Your child can finally be proud to read in front of the class. No more hassles to get your child to read, and no more fighting to do homework assignments. Take advantage of groundbreaking e-training technology that can give your child the ability to succeed in school and in life. Call the USA Reading Clinic now to discuss how your child can begin the journey on the road to success. Call 800-230-3054. 800-230-3054. That's 800-230-3054.
You have a 90% chance of surviving a lightning strike. You have a 98% chance of surviving a shark attack. You have a 99% chance of surviving a snake bite. But you only have a 50% chance of surviving a crash if you aren't wearing a seatbelt. Your truck may be tough, but a seatbelt makes it tougher. Buckle up in your truck. Brought to you by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office.
Hey Nashville, Ray here from Run With It. Let me tell you about our sponsor, Boom Boss Craft Pizza and Tap House. And with 4 locations in Bellevue, Murfreesboro, Spring Hill, and East Nashville, they're your home for the best gourmet pizza and craft beers in Music City. Join me on Monday nights at the East Nashville location for poker night. And if you think you know everything, try Wednesday night trivia at both locations. Gourmet pizzas, craft beers, online at boombozz.com. Boom Boss Craft Pizza and Tap House.
It's a Bill King Show.
I told you this in 2010. This is about football. The other sports don't matter. I know that's offensive to some. I don't mean it to be. It's true. Whatever football decides, you have to follow. Period. You have no vote. You're not getting a seat at the table. Gonna do what you're told. Here's where we're going. Here's how we're gonna do.
Weekday mornings beginning at 6 on Sports Radio 560 on 95.9 FM.
Okay, it's happening.
It's the afternoon stretch with Zach Williams and Bruno Reagan.
Everybody stay calm. Stay calm.
Let's take some calls from the public, shall we?
Join the afternoon stretch now on the Cure Hotline, 615-844-5600. Now here's Bruno and Zach.
Second hour of the afternoon stretch, and it's going to be a fun one. Bruno Reagan, Devlin McKenzie, Zach Williams here inside the Strike and Spare Family Fun Center studio on Nashville Sports Radio. Get to go to the Cure Hotline, and it's a best guess that I think we've had in the year that we've been doing this show. This is going to top the books for sure. We get to talk to now head coach of the Vanderbilt Commodores football squad over there on West End, Clark Lee. Clark, thank you so much for taking some time and joining with us.
My goodness, guys, what an intro. I may need you to do it again so I can record it and play it for my wife later on.
Well, welcome back in the afternoon stretch. No, I'm kidding. That's hacky radio, Clark. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, we're different.
I gotcha. That's all right.
So, before we get into any of the football talk, I've had a question, Clark, that I've noticed you. You're a noticeable guy because when you get that kind of, air around you, I feel like I see you at all these sporting events, and I've never, this might freak you out, but I never have shook your hand or said hi or anything. I just am behind you in a way where I'm like, because I'm media, and then I see you in like the special areas, and I'm like, oh, there's Clark Lee. I see you at the opening of Giudas Park for Nashville SC. I've seen you, of course, at Vandy baseball. They're late in the season when they were getting on against Tennessee. I see you, at certain high school events, taking the helicopter out there and doing your recruiting, things like that. How important is it to you to be out in the community as the head coach of the Vanderbilt Commodores?
Well, listen, I'm a Nashvilleian, and I'm enjoying living in my city. This is my hometown, and I want to experience. I want my family to experience it. And I obviously represent the program. I represent the university. I represent the department, and I know that being active in our community is important. But for me, it's more about I'm living my life and enjoying it. And this is a great city, and like I said, this is where I grew up. So, I celebrate every day that I get a chance to live where I grew up, and I want to take the time to enjoy it with my family.
How is that for you as a head coach of any program, of just being a coach in general, going out to see other sports or just like what it would be with Nashville SC or any other game that is? Like, do you watch that from a critical level where you're like, I see the effort or I see this, or do you look at it and you just try to, have a drink, have a hot dog, and just sit back and relax and watch a game?
Well, that's a good one. Inevitably I'm watching the game, and I'm enjoying watching competitive sports. So I enjoy it way more when I see a team that's playing hard, playing together, and I can, I'm not fluent in certain languages. Like I haven't watched a ton of soccer, but I can tell when I'm seeing inspired play. I think I learn a lot from just observing tactics in other sports, strategies. There's way more carryover once you start paying attention than you would imagine. And so whether it's hockey or soccer, I've taken a lot. Again, when you watch the Preds on a forecheck and they're suppressing time and space, that's no different than playing defense in football. It's the same idea. And when you have a line of guys working together and covering those spaces and not allowing for the opponent to escape pressure, that's the exact same thing we want to do as 11 guys on defense. And so I thoroughly enjoy watching that, and no different if it's the Vandy boys, stealing second and forcing a bad throw. I think competitive excellence demands that you take risk, and so I really enjoy kind of those competitive narratives with whatever game I'm watching.
Talking with head coach of the Vandy Commodores, Clark Lee. Bruno Reagan, former Vandy Commodore himself. What do you got for Clark?
Hey, Clark, I just want to ask you real quick. Bart Simmons, a guy I used to pester all the time when I was in high school. So I'm glad you went and picked him up. I'm not the only one in his DMs anymore. It's a really unique role. I don't think there's any other college teams that have, a title general manager, which is a real NFL thing. I was just wanted to ask, how does that position differ from, maybe an NFL standpoint or just another college personnel position? Does he have more, influence, and what sort of created that relationship?
Well, Barton and I go way back. So I think starting in like middle school, I remember we went to the same church, Christ Church downtown, Christ Episcopal, and it was like 7th grade, and we were in the same, Sunday school class, and our parents kind of knew of each other, and so that friendship started young, and it extended through high school shenanigans that we're not going to go into on this call, but things that bind you closer together. And then, as we got in, we were in each other's weddings. It's a friendship that runs deep. And so as we were both on our own professional journeys, we would stay in close touch because there was so much overlap. So like every year we talked, and as my career started to kind of really take hold, we started thinking about what it would be like to connect and work together. And we shared a lot of the same philosophies on, evaluation and the traits that mattered, and how, that there's a lot of sloppiness in recruiting. And I just knew that I was never going to get to work with Barton unless I took the job in Nashville. And as it worked out, I was able to get here, and I was able to get him. As far as his role goes, I mean, the designation of general manager is just meant to highlight the fact that he is farming the land of personnel, be it, the way we're developing personnel within the program, be it, looking at a player on our roster and thinking about a position change. Certainly when it comes to, roster attrition, which I didn't anticipate kind of what the transfer portal has introduced, but certainly having someone who is spending his time and energy paying attention to that, has been helpful. And then obviously with respect to recruiting, I mean, there's two facets to recruiting. One is the acquisition of the player, so the process through which we bring someone on campus and show them around, et cetera. The relationship developing part of that, but also then the scouting of the player too, which Barton oversees a scouting staff that helps us kind of scour the country and harvest, players that we think fit us. So it's a huge role. And I would say to you that when we first connected and I hired him in the role, I think we were just scratching the surface on how significant this role actually is. The cool thing, Barton was a freelancer, and, he's working for CBS and 24/7 and all that. And, particularly during pandemic, I think he was doing a lot of work in his basement with his ring light, and so now all of a sudden he's in an office environment managing a staff, and I've been really impressed. I knew what he'd bring to the table as someone who was going to fight for what he believed in and be contrarian when he needed to be, and he's a smart guy who's got evaluation skill. But it's been fun also to watch him grow in that role as a manager and overseeing the staff. And so I think his effectiveness is only going to get more significant with time. And I'm really, really happy to have him on our team.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, he walked in on me sleeping during camp one day, and I was like, "That's hilarious," full circle. So it's also hilarious to see him working for the school now. So I'm glad, small world, man. And one last thing I wanted to ask you, Coach, was when you went up there at SEC Media Days, and I don't have your verbatim quote, but you said, "Without doubt, Vanderbilt will be one of the best teams in the country." And most alumni love that quote. You don't want someone who beats around the bush around that, or you want someone who's ignorantly aggressive to the success of the program, and you want the players to think like that. When you go out against Bama, Georgia, you want to always try and win the game. You play to win the game. But we also, at least now that I'm on the outside, you also now live in the media, the realistic world, where Vanderbilt's only been to 9 bowl games since 1955, right? Like, getting to a bowl game is an impressive feat, and then you can start building your foundation, your base. I just wanted to ask you, when it comes to setting goals with the guys now in the locker room, I mean, it's no secret I think they were winless during the COVID year, then 2 wins, and now we're already breaking, with 3 wins. How do those goals shift, and what do you sort of present to the guys as expectations for the season, and how do they change as it goes on?
No, it's a great question. First of all, and I don't remember the direct quote either, but what I believe in and what I talk about every single day, and what gives me energy is that we are building the best program in the country here at Vanderbilt, and that does take time. So we're not like delusional here. We understand perfectly where we are, and I think to get to this vision of the best, what that means to me is that we're providing an experience to our players that's impactful and meaningful, that we are graduating our team, because that's a part of being at Vanderbilt, and we're graduating a team that's engaged in the education here. One of the things that to me is should never be said is that like a Vanderbilt football player can't launch into impact once his playing career is over. And too many times people have been recruited here on the premise that Vanderbilt will take care of you the rest of your life, and we reject that notion because no one's going to take care of us except for ourselves. What we know to be true here is that what you invest on this campus will multiply over your lifetime, and that's what we focus our attention on. And so, if we're allowing that to become the DNA of our team, they're going to maximize our opportunity here on campus. That's part of being the best, but certainly sustained winning is a part of that too, and playing for championships is a part of that as well. So we don't believe that one supersedes the other. We believe we have a unique brand here. We have a very unique experience here that's going to allow us to become that. And to your point, progress and success is going to be incremental. We have to unlock the levels, and that's recruiting at a high level. That's replenishing our roster. That's increasing win totals. That's getting to bowl games. That's getting this facility project done. And all of those things over time, as we continue this line of progress, it won't be linear. It'll be, it's going to be, there are going to be peaks and valleys along the way. But if we keep climbing, in time, we know what this program can be. And to your point about the history of the program, which I'm, obviously having grown up here and been around and, been a fan, and then obviously played here and then followed it as an alum too. I think this program's never really been given a chance to reach its potential, and that's why, to me, this becomes a moment for Vanderbilt football. You have Chancellor Diermeyer, who really has, made it a focal point to get behind athletics. I mean, he's actually, just in fall camp, sat down in my office with me and Barton, and he was just curious about recruiting. We talked for like an hour and a half, just chopping it up about kind of our process and what we're selling and what we're doing. It was awesome to have the chancellor interested in what's going on here. And then, with Candace Lee, who is an alum, and it's personal to her too, I think they unlock the potential here. It's their vision that allows for my vision. And I don't know that we've ever had that level of symmetry. And so in alignment, and that's what makes me excited. So that's a long-winded answer, Bruno, but hopefully that covers most of the bases there.
I love it. I appreciate it, Clark.
No, that's great stuff. Talking with Vanderbilt head coach Clark Lee. Clark, second year, obviously, as a head coach now with the Vandy Commodores. What's different from this time this year from last year this time?
Ooh, a lot. I mean, we learned a lot a year ago. I learned a lot a year ago. I think I'm still growing, and I'm absolutely still growing in this role. We have a way better sense of our identity here. We have a way better sense of what it takes. I think we have, we are further along in kind of like finding our on-field potential. I think though our expectations internally are higher, and that means we step in the building every day, expecting to win, and so going through the process and learning the process to win. That means when you have setbacks, they sting a little more. I think everyone feels that feeling of disappointment a little bit heavier, and so I've got to manage that and keep guys pulling towards the long-term vision and understanding that if we just keep improving, we're gonna be able to find those results on Saturdays. But it's been fun to see from year one to year two. Just people have a way better sense of the purpose here, the meaning of what we're doing. They're acclimated to our process, and so I'm spending less time explaining why we're practicing a certain way and more time, diving into that identity and how we find our highest level as a team. And it's with every day here, it just becomes more and more exciting and more fun because we're getting closer to kind of the vision for the program.
Talking with Clark Lea, head coach of the Vandy Commodores. One last question, and we'll get you out of here because I know you're a very busy man, but we appreciate you taking some time jumping on here with us, Clark.
Very much.
Ole Miss coming in, obviously a former Vandy man yourself in the sense of playing, but also now on the head coaching side. What does that game mean to you as a coach? I know the coach answer is business as usual. We're just going up against teams, but I know there's got to be an extra little bit of fire in there for you.
Well, yeah, I mean, Ole Miss has been a crossover opponent for a long time, and we've also had historically some really tight games with them. Overtime wins and overtime losses, and come from behind wins, and it's just it's been a fun series. I think for me right now, I'm just and this is going to be true to the end of the season. I'm so excited to be in the SEC play. I think it's just there's just a sense of, hey, you're challenged every week, and we want this program to be built for success in our conference. And we also know that we're still early in on this climb, but just the idea that we get to go week in, week out and play against the best in the country, and certainly Ole Miss is in the top 10. I mean, they've found ways to win games. Coach Kiffin's done a great job. So it's a program we have a lot of respect for. But, hey, we get to have them at home. We get to do it in front of our home crowd. That's special to us. And, we're going to be geared up and ready to play. And we know our margins are very, very thin here. So, to play well means that we're kind of all systems are optimized. But we also get excited for the chance to go out and compete and represent our football program, university, and we'll look forward to doing that against Ole Miss.
Clark, thank you so much for jumping on. We look forward to having you more in the future. It's great stuff. You could probably just become the third piece of the show if you wanted. We have a third mic here.
Sick of football. Yeah.
Well, ahead. I mean, even if it's just in season, once the season's over, you got off season, just come hang out at the station with us.
That sounds like a plan to me, guys. Hey, appreciate y'all having me on. Great to be with you.
Absolutely. Clark Lea has been our guest. Thank you so much to him. And Bruno getting him set up there as well with us here, using those Vandy connections. You're a Vandy man.
It is what it is. And Clark's a Vandy man, too, so he wants to help out the Vandy guys, which type of dude he is. So
Absolutely.
We didn't even get to ask him the best question, who is the hardest guy to game plan for? And I had a decent answer. It was like, it's probably number 61, right guard. He was at Notre Dame. He was at the college football playoff year. And, that Notre Dame team, they just had a solid right guard. He went up against their best I just know that was in the back of his head.
See, that's the back of our heads is like, how can we turn this into a funny thing? And then Clark's like giving great ansers, and we just get sucked into it. It's like now we have a great radio show because we have Clark Lea on.
When I see him in person, I'll report back to the show, but because I'm sure I'll see him at a game and get to ask a question. I'll just be like, "Do you remember me from scouting that game?" That'd be a funny one.
Was that you were playing left guard that game?
Right guard.
Right guard.
Yeah, not center yet. I had a really good game too.
That was the one Kari fell on the ball and it just popped out, huh?
I was right there. I was behind him. If he just didn't fall on it, I would have fell on it, and I know that would have been my touchdown. I would have gotten so many flags. I told my coaches, I told everyone, if I ever score a touchdown, we're going on Barstool, ESPN. It's going crazy. Cartwheels, failed backflip, whatever. I would have done it.
I would have loved it if you scored a touchdown because you know why?
Why?
We would have the soundbite of Bruno Reagan. The number 61 scores the touchdown, and you just hear flipping of paper, and Bruno Reagan falls on the ball, and the Vanderbilt Commodores win.
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
But instead, the best one I get is you finding a fumble against Kentucky and going for 6 yards and then getting obliterated by Josh Allen.
Yeah. Hey man, I've had my moments. It is what it is.
That's good.
That was a fun comment. No,
Clark's great.
Yeah, he's perfect for radio.
And we're hoping weekly we're going to be getting Clark on
Wednesdays.
Wednesdays is what it's going to be. Typically, we would have had him on Wednesday this week.
But Braves
baseball, which
another
is,
shout out to Coach Lee. I mean, he's flexible enough to clear up his schedule, and Tuesdays is like big media day, so gotta appreciate the guy.
And that, like I said, I hope I didn't come off too much of a creeper. I can't tell you how many times I have been within 5 feet of this guy just because of where the media sits, and then, like I said, he's gotten the special seats at just crazy events.
Yeah.
Crazy different events that you couldn't even think of. I'm just like, oh, there's Clark Lee. I'm like, I need to just...
Well, now he has a face to the name.
Yes.
So you can
at least a voice. Yeah. Hopefully the face doesn't scare him too much, though. All right, we are done for the day. Appreciate Aria Gerson from Tennessee and covers Vandy jumping on earlier in the first hour. Of course, head coach Clark Lee jumping on with us here just moments ago. You'll be able to find that interview if you had just missed it on WNSR.com. Just click the afternoon stretch page, and you'll be able to find that on our SoundCloud link, Apple Podcasts, all those good places. We appreciate everybody who listened in, commented on the show, watched in, however you did. Appreciate it so much. Remember, nobody's told you I love you and you matter. Braves baseball coming up next here on Nashville Sports Radio.